This is the Revoltech female Titan from the very popular anime Attack on Titan. This anime came out all the way back in 2013. I was 12 years old back then. Now, back then I didn't really watch much anime, basically just Naruto, so this whole style of animation and the dark story of huge freaky ass monsters attacking villages was new and exciting for me. But it got really cool when I saw some of the people turn into these awesome Titans themselves. And one of these is Annie, who becomes the female Titan, this intelligent badass fighter of a Titan. So how about we check her out? Starting with the front of the box, we have a full body picture of the figure on the left and titles on the right. On the side, we have some closer bust shots of the figure and more titles. On the back, we've got a lot of different examples of the poses this figure can achieve, as well as show all the accessories included. On the other side, we have a smaller full body shot and titles, then here's the top, and here's the bottom. Come on, we're not here for the box, unless you are, in which case I hope you enjoyed the video so far. We're here for the figure inside, so let's take a look at it, along with its accessories, articulation, and size comparison. Kicking off the accessories, here we have her base hair and face sculpt. To switch the hair, you just pull it off the back of the head. And something that caught me by surprise was that the faceplate didn't latch onto the head, but rather had a tab that connected underneath the hairpiece. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Mine had some troubles pegging into the hair and it tends to come out pretty easily, especially when moving the head certain directions. Kind of wish they would have just made it connect to the back headpiece like most figures. Anyways, with that, here we have a more dynamic hairpiece with it swaying to her left. And like a lot of other amazing Yamaguchi figures, rather than multiple faceplates, you have eyes that you can move from behind. Moving on to the hands, here we have the fists she comes packaged with. The next pair we have are some hardened fists, which look like a pair of iron fists. Here we have some relaxed-ish open hands, followed by some karate chopping hands, along with some slightly angled hardened open hands. For this next accessory, you're gonna pull off the left arm from the shoulder joint and attach this other arm that has a hardened elbow. Obviously there will be no articulation with this arm, but you'll be able to replicate cool scenes from the anime. You'll do a similar process with the right leg, pulling it from the knee joint and attaching the hardened foot accessory. You'll obviously get less articulation with these two, but they sure look awesome for some photos. And lastly, you'll have an extra peg in case you lose one. Of course, you'll get a Revoltech stand included, along with this extra piece for connecting to the figure's back, a claw for the stand, and a tool to move the eyes on the faceplate. Now, I didn't pre-order this figure, so I didn't get this gritted teeth faceplate, but honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of it anyways. Now to see how well this figure moves. Starting with the head, you can look this far up and this far down. With an articulated neck piece, you get a bunch of tilt all around. Your arms can go this high up with ease and completely spin around with no issue. You get some bicep swivel, a really good bend at the elbow, and all around wrist movement. You get some good butterfly joints for extra movement, and yeah. Moving on, you get an awesome diaphragm cut with tons of twisting and tilting, and a ball joint at the waist to pair along perfectly with it. Together, you can bend this far forwards, and this far backwards. Your legs can go this far to the side, and they can kick about this high up, which after having played with the figure for a bit, I found out, no, you can actually go higher. This goes to show you that I am not the best at posing Revoltech figures, and that you can probably move them way more than I show in my reviews. You get an awesome bend at the knee, some thigh swivel of course, some boot swivel as well, and of course all around movement on the ankles paired with some toe articulation. I'm gonna be completely honest, this figure has some of the best feeling and looking articulation I've seen. Everything moves with ease and I can achieve any pose I can think of without issue. The only thing that keeps this figure's articulation from being perfect for me would be the head, and even then it's more of an accessory issue. I mentioned before the hairpiece sometimes falls off when I move it certain directions. Obviously she's scaled down to fit the 1/12 scale, but let's see how she sizes up next to some other figures. Here we have her next to the Mafex Nightfall Bane and SH Figuarts Thanos. Here she is beside the Revoltech Iron Man and the Mezco Predator. Here we have her next to the Jada Toys Chun-Li and Marvel Legends King and Black Venom. And lastly, here she is besides the Keep Going Studio White Ghost and Mythic Legion Sir Elijah. Obviously her real size would completely tower over all these other characters, but to be in this scale, she'll be a bit shorter than most. Doing something new for this video, I'll score each section individually and then give a grand total at the end. We'll score this figure on its sculpting / look, its accessories, and of course its articulation. Each will be out of 10 points, and 5 points for fun factor at the end, coming together to a grand total of 35 points. Starting with the look of the figure itself, it looks like it was ripped straight off the screen. There's detail and sculpt in every muscle fiber throughout the body, and the colors match the anime perfectly, from the blonde hair to the blue eyes to even the silvery hardened areas. I'll personally give this figure a perfect 10 out of 10 on sculpt and detail. Coming to accessories, it's a bit tough, because although it feels like we don't really get that much, what else would we even get? For a character like her, I feel like we got everything we would need. Apart from the pre-order gridded teeth face, I think we got most of what we needed. I would say I'd give it a 10, but they could have maybe added another hair piece or two. Hell, maybe even a small effect piece or something. So for that, I'll give it a 7.5. We got all we needed, but it was so little I feel they could have added some little extra fun things. Also, the issue with the faceplate falling off, wish they could have found a better solution to that. Now for the articulation, that's an easy 10. Not many companies can do it like Revoltech. For me, when it comes to figures, Revoltech is always the first company that comes to mind when I think of great articulation. I know people aren't always a fan of their look, but you can't deny these can move. Easy 10 points here. This figure moves better than any other Revoltech I have. When it comes to fun factor, I've had a great time so far with this figure. Obviously the scaling is often not accurate if you're posing it with other 112 figures, but personally, I think that's where the fun is. I mean, how else would you be able to have the female Titan box around with Bane? If I were better or any good at stop motion, I know the fight scenes with this figure would go crazy. 5 out of 5 for me. So that adds up to a total of 32.5 out of 35 points. I've definitely been enjoying this figure and I hope I can somehow get my hands on the Armored Titan soon. If you're a fan of AOT or just awesome looking, highly articulated figures, don't miss out on the chance of getting this figure if you see it for sale. Anyways, that brings us to the end of the video. Leave a comment on what figure you'd like me to review next. If you found this review helpful, consider leaving a like to help out the channel and subscribe for future reviews on more figures. And as always, see you guys later and have a great time collecting. And a quick reminder, if you guys want to see how the pictures for this figure turn out, I'll be posting them soon on my Instagram, so make sure to go follow.